Yo, welcome. Basically, it says regarding the story of Purim that on that night the sleep of the king was disturbed. In the simple meaning of the verse, this refers to the king Achashverosh, who before this he went to sleep at one point in the Megillah, and before he went to and had this whole dream, and his sleep was disturbed, and then the whole thing happened, whatever. But before that, he had this whole decree against the Jewish people, which was pretty brutal. But then after this one night of sleeping, and then all these other events happened after he woke up, and then eventually his heart got transformed from doing the opposite of good to the Jewish people to wanting to do good for them. So this idea of the sleep of the king, which refers to the king Achashverosh at the time, the king of Persia at the time, the idea of his sleep being disturbed represents the main miracle of Purim, which the main miracle of Purim represents the transformation of the hearts of the government politicians at the time in order to do good to the Jewish people. So this idea of the sleep of the king of Achashverosh being disturbed, that caused his heart to be transformed from one extreme to the other extreme. That was the beginning of the miracle and the main part of the miracle of Purim, in fact. Okay, basically, that's the simple meaning. But in the deeper meanings, when it says the sleep of the king was disturbed, it doesn't say the name of the king explicitly, so it also alludes to the king of the universe. And it says the sleep of the king of the universe was disturbed, meaning the king of the universe, the creator of the universe, has no form, no body, nothing. So obviously there's no idea of simple meaning of sleep. But sleep is a metaphor for the idea of the creator being concealed from the universes. But on that night, it says, which was the beginning of the miracle, which was the salvation of the Jewish people, says the sleep of the king was disturbed, meaning Hashem was openly revealed into the world itself, which ultimately caused the simple meaning of the miracle for the sleep of Achashverosh to be disturbed, which ultimately caused even the king Achashverosh's heart to be transformed from the opposite of good to good. And it says that the reason why Hashem, the creator, became revealed at that time was because the self-sacrifice that the entire nation of Israel had throughout an entire year of harsh decrees before that, leading up to that. But through the Jewish people, the people of Israel anyways, still learning Torah and trusting in Hashem for an entire year of brutality and harshness, that caused the sleep of the king to be disturbed. That caused the concealment of the creator that's usually manifested within the world to be disturbed, meaning that concealment was disturbed such that Hashem became openly manifested within the world itself, which is what caused the simple meaning of the miracle to disturb the king of Achashverosh, which ultimately led to his heart being transformed to good, which ultimately led to the salvation of the entire people of Israel. So that's the simple meaning of the deeper meaning, that the sleep of the king of the universe being disturbed is that the king of the universe went from a state of being hidden from the universe, hidden away and concealed from the universe, to being openly manifested in the world through the service of the people of Israel through the length of the entire year of the Purim decree. Okay, but now there's some deeper meanings when it says on that night the sleep of the king was disturbed. It implies that the idea of, quote, that night caused the sleep of the king to be disturbed, meaning caused Hashem to be revealed in the world itself. So the point is, why does it say that night specifically? It could have said any night. You could have just said, like, at nighttime it was disturbed. It said that specific night. It didn't have to say the word that. And it implies that the idea of that night, meaning the idea of the night itself, is what caused the creator to be revealed in the world, even though it seemingly is the opposite, because the idea of night is the idea of concealment. So how could it be that concealment could cause Hashem to be revealed in the world? And what exactly is that even talking about? Okay, basically it says in some of the commentaries that in general in the Torah there's two ideas. There's the idea of day and night. Like it says when Hashem created the world, it says he called the light day and he called the darkness night. The idea of day represents light, meaning it represents the revelation of Hashem, when Hashem is openly revealed in the world through miracles or through divine providence or other revelations of Hashem, such as during Egypt and during other times when people openly realize Hashem is openly manifested and related into the world and openly manifested and perceived in the world itself. That's the idea of the concept of day in the Torah. The day is light. The day is the revelation of Hashem in the world. Then there's the idea of night, which night is the idea of the darkness, meaning the concealment of the Creator from the world, such that people don't realize that the Creator is constantly involved in every detail of the world. It's not openly manifested to them. They don't feel it, because it's the idea of the concealment, the darkness of the Creator from the world itself, such that people don't realize that every detail of the world is being directed by the Creator, even though in reality it is anyway. But the light is when people realize that the Creator is openly manifested in the world, and the darkness is when the Creator is hidden in a way where people don't openly realize that the Creator is involved in every detail of creation. Okay, that's the basic meaning of day and night in the Torah in general. Then the commentaries say that within each of these day and night concepts, each one of them has an idea of revelation and concealment. Meaning, what does that mean? Because sometimes it says this day, sometimes it says that day, sometimes it says this night, sometimes it says that night. What does that mean? There's the idea of this and that, which are two opposites. The idea of this is something that one can point with their finger and say, this is it. I can see it right in front of me. For example, at the splitting of the sea, there was a massive revelation of the Creator's essence, essential light, which it says that people could point with their finger and see the divine speech and the divine energy of the Creator being manifested throughout all of creation at the time of the splitting of the sea, because the idea of the sea is that which is concealed, but then when the sea is split, then the concealment comes in a revealed way. So that's the idea of the hidden worlds becoming revealed, meaning the hidden energy behind creation became openly manifested, such that everyone at the time of the splitting of the sea became in a similar level to the prophets, which could openly perceive Hashem as energy in the world. So that's the idea of this. The splitting of the sea, it says they could point with their finger and look at the divine energy of the Creator in the world itself, as if it was like openly right there in front of them, even though the Creator has no actual image. But it was so openly revealed and felt and perceived by them, it was as if they could see it. They could point with their finger, pretty much, and say, like, this is the Creator, meaning everywhere is the Creator. They openly realized how everywhere is the Creator. That's the idea of this, something that you could point with your finger and say, this is it, because it's right in front of you. It's right there. But that's the idea of this. But then the idea of that, the word that is the opposite of this. That is a word that is used to refer to something that is distant, that is far away, that is not right in front of you. It's somewhere else, saying there's that thing over there. It's not here. It's there. That's the idea of that, which is the idea of the concealment. So it explains that the idea of this day and this night and that night are related. Meaning the idea of day is the revelation of Hashem in the world. So the idea of this day is when the revelation of Hashem in the world is openly felt, and people realize the revelation of Hashem. It's the basic level of revelation through direct miracles, etc., that happened during Egypt, which is the basic level of revelation. But when people think about Hashem being revealed in the world, they think in general miracles, etc. Then there's the idea of that day, which is an even greater level of revelation of Hashem, which is even beyond the simple meaning of the revelation. It's an even infinitely greater level of the revelation of Hashem, which is the idea of that day, which is like the source of the revelation, the source of the day, because it's the idea of that, which is something that's more distantly far away, which is further moved, which is greater. The idea of that day, which it says when Mashiach comes, it'll be a revelation of the idea of that day, which is the source of the revelation of the light of the Creator. Meaning, basically, that's the idea of this and that. This is how something is in a direct way in front of someone, and that represents the source of something, which is more distantly removed. And similarly, the idea of this night and that night, the idea of night is a concealment. So the idea of this night is when the concealment is openly felt, meaning when people realize the concealment is a concealment. For example, during the time of the exile, in the earlier times of the exile, when people realized the exile was a darkness, and then they had a thirst for the Creator to go out of the exile, because they realized the exile was a problem. They realized the concealment of the Creator that was in the exile, so they realized the darkness. They realized the night. That's the idea of this night, meaning the idea of the night was openly manifested and revealed to them in a way that they could point with a finger and say this, meaning they could feel the concealments of the darkness of the exile itself. But then there's the idea of that night, which is a double concealment, because the idea of that is something that's not openly here. Meaning the idea of the concealment itself, the idea of the night itself, is in a way of that which is distant, meaning they don't even realize that the night is night. They don't even realize the exile is the exile. They think everything is good. It says in the later parts of the exile, in the heels of Mashiach, which is the end of the exile, the darkness is so great that people think good is bad and bad is good. They say light is dark, dark is night. What's good? What's bad? They don't even realize that exile is bad. They think it's good. That's the idea of the double concealment, the concealment within a concealment. Like it says in the Talmud, where is Esther from the story of Purim? Where is Esther alluded to in the Torah? And it says, quote, I shall hide my face on that day. Hashem tells the people of Israel. It literally means hide, I shall hide my face on that day. The idea of hide, I should hide. It says in the commentaries that even the concealment of the Creator is concealed. Meaning even the fact that the Creator is hidden, that itself is hidden, since people don't even realize the Creator is manifested at all. They don't even, there's even some people who deny the existence of the Creator at all, chas v'shalom. So that's the idea of the Creator, even the concealment of the Creator being hidden. People don't even realize the Creator is concealed. It's so concealed, even the concealment is concealed. So that's the idea of that night, meaning the night is the concealment of the Creator, and the concealment itself is in a level of that, which is removed from the world. They don't even realize the night is night. They don't even realize the concealment is a concealment.